Good morning and welcome, my dear medical students. Human body is a unit for a lay person, but for a medical person or for a medical student or for a physician or surgeon, it is made up of different types of tissues. Human body is having 60 to 100 trillions of cells, so it is made up of 60 to 100 trillions of cells. These cells are divided in, or these cells are grouped to form tissues. A tissue is collection of cell or group of cells having same function, and different tissues are grouped to form different organs which are doing different functions like digestion, respiration, circulation, or the function of the urogenital system. So human body is made up of different types of tissues. There are basically 4 tissues forming the human body as a unit. These are the epithelium, the connective tissue, the nervous tissue, and the very important tissue forming about 40 to 50% of human body weight is the muscular tissue or the muscles. The muscle, as the name indicates, musculus, it is derived from the name musculus, means the mouse. The mouse is having this is the mouse. This is the body and head of the mouse, and here is the tail of the mouse. So mouse, also known as musculus, muscle resembles the shape of the mouse. When I say the musculus, it means the mouse, and muscle, which is derived from the name musculus, it is the shape of muscle, and it is having different orientation of its fibers or the muscle fibers, which are the structural unit of the muscle. So muscle resembles the shape of a mouse, known as musculus, and the word muscle derived from the musculus. So it is having a fleshy part and a thin tendon or thin part of non-contractile tissue known as the tendon, and it is having a belly or the fleshy part, which is the contractile part of the muscle. The human body is made up of 4 types of tissues. I have already told. The 40 to 50% of body volume or body weight is made up of these muscles. So what is a muscle? Generally speaking, it is a contractile tissue or contractile part of the body. So it is having a capability of contraction. So it is the contractile part of the body. But only muscles are not contractile. There are some different cells which are also contractile, but these are not muscles. So the myoepithelial cells are not contractile, and the myofibroblasts are also not contractile. So myofibroblast what is the myoepithelial cell and what is a myofibroblast? Myoepithelial cells are the cells in the acini of the glands. When you see the acini in the microscope, these are having the secretory cells, basement membrane, and this is the duct of the gland, and this is the secretion of the cells of the acini. But when you see between the basement membrane and the cells of the acini, you will see some irregular shaped or spindle shaped cells. These cells will contract to excrete the secretion of these glands outside the acini. So these cells are known as the myoepithelial cells. And what are the myofibroblasts? Many times in your life you have injured in some injury, either it may be road traffic injury or some other form of the injury. After injury, what happened? The embryonic mesenchymal cells, the fibroblasts, there are some contractile fibroblasts. These are known as myofibroblasts. These myofibroblasts will move on the site or will move to the site of injury, and these will help in the healing of the injury. So these are known as myofibroblasts. These myofibroblasts are having capability of contraction, but these are not muscles. So muscles are contractile part of the body, but there are some other cells which are not muscles but contractile. So I can say all contractile tissues of the body are not muscles, but all the muscles of the body are contractile. So what is the difference in these cells and these muscles? These muscles are made up of contractile cells, but on the other hand, these myoepithelial cells and myofibroblasts are functioning individually. These are working alone. On the other hand, the muscles are working in a group of contractile cells. So in this lecture, I will talk about the muscles. Initially, I will talk about all types of muscles. Then I will talk about only the skeletal muscles. So muscles are derived from the mesodermal layer of the embryonic disc. In initial phase of development, there are only two layers in embryonic disc, epiblast and hypoblast. But in later part of development, or I can say in the third week of the development, there is a trilaminar disc. This trilaminar disc is having, there is formation of trilaminar disc. When I draw a section, transverse section of this trilaminar disc, it is having ectoderm, it is having the mesoderm, and it is having the endoderm. This mesoderm is having a notochord. I will not go in detail of this notochord and ectoderm and what is neuroectoderm and what is surface ectoderm. I will talk about briefly about this mesoderm. This mesoderm in later part of development is divided in paraxial, lateral plate mesoderm, and the intermediate mesoderm. So this part of the embryonic disc is meant for the development of the muscles. This part having paraxial, intermediate and the lateral plate mesoderm are responsible for the development of the muscles of human body. But there are some exceptions. Erector pylorium muscles and muscles of iris. The exceptions are the erector pylorium. These are the muscles of the hair, and the muscles of iris. These are the ectodermal in origin, and all muscles are mesodermal in origin. So the muscles are derived from the mesenchyme, and these are mesodermal in origin. So the origin of the muscles is from the embryonic mesoderm, but exceptionally the erector pylorium and the muscles of iris are derived from the ectoderm, and these are ectodermal in origin. So there are different types of muscles in human body. There are three types of the muscles in human body. We can see three basic types of the muscles having different structure and different functions, different locations and different nerve supply, and these are the skeletal muscles. The cardiac muscles, and the smooth muscles, So human body is made up of three types of muscles: skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles, and the smooth muscles. The skeletal muscles are also known as the somatic muscles. I will use S4V for the skeletal muscles. These are having different names. Four names start from the word S and one name is from V. So I am using this mnemonic S4V for skeletal muscles. The one name is skeletal muscle. The other name is striated muscles. The third name is stripped muscle. The fourth name is somatic muscles. And the other name is voluntary muscle. These are the motor of the human body. Muscles are motor of the human body, but especially the skeletal muscles are the motor of the human body. Skeletal muscles because these are having attachment with the skeleton. Skeleton. Skeleton, the name comes from the dried and hard. So the dried and hard structure of the body is formed by the bones and the cartilage. And the cartilage. So we can see these muscles are attached to the bones or the cartilage, but these muscles are not always attached to the bones. Some skeletal muscles, or I can say stripped, striated, somatic or voluntary muscles, are also attached to the fascia and the other membranes. We can see these types of attachments in the muscles of facial expression. These are also the motor muscles or also somatic muscles, and the muscles of initial part of the esophagus and the muscles of larynx and pharynx are not attached. All muscles are not attached to the bones. So this name comes from the skeleton, that is the bony framework of the body, and these are known as skeletal muscles. These are having zebra-like striations or strips. When we see the section of these muscles under microscope, we can see the appearance of these muscles. These are having muscle fibers, which are having the cross striations. So this type of arrangement of the muscle fibers and forming the cross striations or the stripped like pattern of these muscles derived their name the striated muscles or stripped muscles. So skeletal muscles, stripped muscles, striated muscles, skeletal muscles, or somatic. Soma means the body wall. These are closer to the body wall, when these muscles are displayed by medical students during the dissection of the cadaver. These muscles are displayed by the dissector, and these are near to the body wall. So these muscles are also known as somatic muscles. The voluntary muscles. These muscles are also known as voluntary muscles because they are under control of the willpower of the human being or under control of the conscious power or highest seat of consciousness, that is the cerebral cortex. These muscles are under power of our consciousness, so these are also known as the voluntary muscles. The all muscles, all muscles except the skeletal muscles are not under our conscious control or the voluntary control, but it doesn't happen always. The muscles of face are semi-automatic. They are under our voluntary control, and many times they are not under our voluntary control. When we meet suddenly some non-face and we laugh or smile, that is not under our voluntary control. And the muscles of larynx and pharynx and the muscles of initial segment of the esophagus are also skeletal muscles or voluntary muscles, but these are not under our voluntary control. So these muscles are also known as voluntary muscles. I will use one more word for these muscles, motor muscles, because these are supplied by the motor neurons on the neuromuscular junction, which I will talk about the nerve supply of the cardiac or the skeletal muscles. The second type of muscle is the cardiac muscle. These muscles are also striated muscle, and these are also having the bands of light and the dark bands, but the striations in cardiac muscles are faint. These are not clearly defined in the cardiac muscles, but the striations or these strips are well defined and well demonstrated in the light microscope in case of skeletal muscles, but the striations are not clearly visible or not well defined in the light microscope in case of cardiac muscles. So cardiac muscles are also striated muscles, but striations are not very clear, and these muscles are seen in the heart. As the name indicate, these are also known as the heart muscles or also known as the myocardium. So this different second muscle is the cardiac muscle, seen in the heart and the initial parts of the large veins like superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava, which are also formed by these cardiac muscles or the heart muscles or the myocardium. The third part of the muscles are the smooth muscles. These are also known as smooth muscles or non-striated muscles. These are not having the striations of light and dark bands of transverse striations. So these muscles are known as the smooth muscles. These muscles are seen in the respiratory system, in the gastrointestinal tract from the middle 1/3 of the esophagus up to the anal sphincter, and these muscles are also seen in the urogenital system. So the location of these muscles, the smooth muscles or the non-striated muscles, are the GIT, the respiratory system, the urogenital system, and the other viscera of the body are formed by the smooth muscle. One other important location of these smooth muscles are the walls of the blood vessels, especially the walls of the arteries, are formed by these smooth muscles, and these are under control of autonomic nervous system, which I will talk about. Nervous system of these different types of muscles. So there are three varieties of the muscles in the human body. The contractile part of the body is formed by the muscles. Now, there are some major differences. There are many similarities in the muscles, but there are major differences between the all three varieties of the muscles: skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles, and the smooth muscles. But they are having some basic properties. First, I will talk about the basic properties of the muscles. Then I will talk about the differences between these all types. So there are some basic properties. Irritability. The contractile tissues or muscles are stimulated by the stimuli. So these are stimulated by the stimuli, or these all muscles respond the stimuli. So the function which is shared by all muscles is the irritability of the contractile tissue, the contractility, these are decrease in size when these are stimulated by the nerve fiber or the axon of the neuron. So especially the skeletal muscles decrease in size when these contract. So the size decreases. This is the contraction. So size of the muscle decreases during contraction. So these are having the contractility, the extensibility, and the other property which is shared by all muscles is elasticity. When the nerve command is removed, or the action potential which is coming from the nervous fiber is removed, the muscle will regain its normal length, or it is having elasticity. It is having extensibility, and the muscle can assume the given shape, or the muscle can assume the shape of different parts of the body. To it can assume the different shape. Irrespective of contractility and the extensibility. So it is having the property of elasticity. So muscles share some basic properties. These are the irritability, the contractility, the extensibility, and the elasticity. But there are some major differences in all three types of muscles. What are these differences? There are the skeletal muscles, the cardiac muscles, and the smooth muscles. And what are the features which are different in all three types of the muscles? So first of all, I will talk about the function. Functionally, skeletal muscles are the motors of the human body, and these are for the locomotion, posture maintenance, heat production. So these are the motor of human body, posture, heat production, and the locomotion and the movements of the whole body, as in locomotion and the movements of the appendages of the human body. So functionally, these muscles are seen in the heart, where they have to pump the blood in the whole body from the left ventricle, and in the lungs from the right ventricle. So pumping of blood these muscles are seen in the GIT, urogenital system, and respiratory tract. So these muscles have to propel the liquids, solids, and semi-solids forward. So propel the food, the urine, the gases, and other secretions, and the blood in case of the blood vessels, and they have to maintain the tone of the tube, and they maintain the distensibility and the lumen of the tubes of the GIT, urogenital system, and respiratory tract. So functionally, these all muscles are different. The second criteria for the difference between all three muscles is the location. The second is the location. This is the function. The second is the location. These muscles are seen in the whole body, especially in the head and neck region, in the trunk, that is thoracic region. I am talking about the walls of the trunk, the thoracic and abdominal region. These are seen in the shoulder girdle, in the pectoral girdle, in the